home sooner than expected. I've always said this.
Well, the reason why I say you possibly have an axe to grind, and it appears so, and it feels like kicking him while he's down, because like there has always been a controversial case where not all of the constituents or the citizens in the United States or viewing public agree. Like, for example, with O.J. Simpson. Would you go as far to say anybody who believes that O.J. did it, they're an idiot, or they're just like lunatics? Because that's what this kind of comes across. I feel like there's a particular thing about the Tory thing. Not that I really don't think you have anything against him, but I know you, Vlad. When Vlad gives his opinion and he's right, Vlad loves to be like, I told you so. I think this is a told you so moment. Yet again, just is blown up beyond that because now people are making a lot of other assumptions.
I mean, I guess you want to, you can frame it how you want to frame it. At the end of the day, this got triggered off of Kelsey's bodyguard saying that she was the shooter because you overheard her say it during a conversation. You can check. This whole thing entered the cycle once again. And it was all over like the blogs and everything else like that. And it's like, yo, I don't want Tory to stay in prison. I think he's done his time. He went through a horrific stabbing incident. I hope he comes home early. I have nothing against Tory. He can come do the show. Me and him have had one DM exchange, and that was it. That was it. That's our only interactions. But at the end of the day, this was triggered off of the lunacy coming back into the cycle again. At the end of the day, you know that he filed an appeal and it was struck down, right? But then again, only 2% of appeals ever go through.
Yeah, and again, these are things that the reasonable people who still have doubts, they're not denying. And so, okay, we get it on that Tory part, but I think the bigger part of even why I think this kind of like it broke through the cycle is not that you just had an opinion on Tory, is that by lumping this idea of, oh, Jay-Z did this, Rock Nation did this, and then basically saying, well, if you believe that, like, come on, like, this is pure sarcasm. There's a lot of really interesting coincidences or real conversation we could have about Rock Nation and Jay-Z. And while you lump it in here, now people are saying, well, all right, we get the Tory part. Like, I do get the Tory part where you say you're putting out some facts. Hey, he was convicted. Hey, the appeal didn't go through. And the video you guys are talking about was a old press conference that referred and referenced a bodyguard that wasn't a bodyguard that night. And also that bodyguard claimed that their proof was that they overheard a conversation while during the trial when they were bodyguard for Kelsey, and she allegedly...
It's all hearsay, right? Yes. It's all hearsay. Hearsay is not a reason to let someone out of prison. It's just hearsay. And in a court of law, it holds very little, usually no weight at all.
Okay. But the Jay-Z and Meg Thee Stallion stuff, and well, really Rock Nation, that's where I think there's certain things that come into play that becomes a little bit, again, for someone like me, and I try to stick to the facts, but pattern recognition, sometimes it feels a little bit more than coincidental. And I think when you mention Jay and Rock Nation and how they move, I think even when Nicki's talking about them, I don't think Nicki's out there. I think Nicki's actually speaking facts. I'll be honest with you.
Nah, bro. Nicki's unhinged. She's always been unhinged.
Whoa, I'm not talking about everything she's saying.
Get out of here. Stop it. Me and you talked about her unhinged behavior.
No. I'm not saying about...
No, you can't use Nicki as like the...
I'm not defending everything.
Rational thought.
Okay, I'm not defending everything Nicki's ever said about everyone. I'm saying when it comes to the conversation she's had, where she's mentioning Desiree Perez, Jay-Z, and Rock Nation, I don't believe those are all just, thoughts of a manic individual that have no either personal experiences with these people to support what she's saying. And here's the thing, the majority of what you've said, I could completely dispute, because even when you say, which obviously you're being facetious, you're saying, well, Rock Nation paid us $10,000 a month, right? Let me ask you a question. You're being facetious, clearly. But do you believe that there's no one in the media, I wouldn't say necessarily getting paid off by Rock Nation, but that has mutually monetary interest that would be in their benefit to defend Rock Nation or Jay-Z?
I I think, as you know, not even I think, I know for a fact, and you can agree with me on this, is that once you get into a certain industry, particularly something like music and entertainment, you have relationships, and which often form into friendships with various people. So when you have relationships with people, then you're going to give them a pass. You're not going to talk bad about them, whatever else. You don't hear me ever talking bad about Boosie, right? Me and Boosie have a business relationship and a personal relationship. People have said certain things about Boosie, and I'm like, nah, I'm not co-signing that. Or I'm not even going to mention
It's a thin line, though, right? Because also, right, it's a very thin line. It's a thin line between friendship and just straight-monetary incentive, right? And that's why I'm getting back to the payment, right? Because I think the old school way would be...
So hold on. Me and Boosie, we have a personal relationship, but there's also a monetary incentive for both of us to keep things moving, right? I pay him for interviews. I mean, everyone knows this. This is not a secret. I pay him to do interviews. And those interviews are profitable. So we both are mutually dependent on each other. Not dependent on each other, but we work with each other. We both make money with each other. So, yeah, there's a monetary incentive there, right?
Yes, there is.
I'm not being extorted by Boosie. You know, the Boosie mafia is out there killing people and
with all due respect,
buying judges and whatever else.
With all due respect, Boosie's not that powerful. There's about 1,000 things Rock Nation has been either behind, whether directly or indirectly, that pattern becomes, I don't think it's a coincidence anymore. But when it comes to, like, say, payment, right? For example, you know, there's a list of individuals that when Jay-Z was going up to get the casino deal, and he was the front celebrity, the face of the possible multi-billion-dollar deal, and they needed approval of the neighborhood council, he brought on a bunch of hip-hop folks to speak on his behalf. Those hip-hop folks, some of them are in media. None of them, you know, has ever thought to, you know, either take anything of him being in the media about whatever with any type of seriousness. I don't think that's friendship. I think that's a business opportunity, right? Like, I don't think some of these people, I don't think they're friends with Jay-Z that much. It's just hey, listen, this is a guy who I'm going to make money with. If y'all are trying to bring him down, you're bringing me down. Not going to let it happen. And so that's what I was trying to say. So when you send out that tweet, and
I don't think that's much of a point. Of course, people want to work with someone that they have a potential business future with. Like, this is just normal business. Like, you know, and plus you're talking about something completely different. You're talking about someone stepping forward as a character witness or someone that's dealt with someone before, as opposed to saying that this guy paid a Mexican pedophile to stab Tory. Right, so you mean to tell me that Jay is going to put his whole future, and his family, and his legacy on the line worse than Bill Cosby, right? Because if it was proven that Jay-Z paid to have a man stabbed up, that's worse than what Bill Cosby did, right? And every Jay-Z, everything will go down. The NFL deal gone, album pulled off the shelves, streaming services done, invited nowhere, NFL deal, forget about it. So you can stab a dude who's already in prison?
Okay, Vlad, I'm going to respond to you, and I'm going to say something that it's going to sound crazy, but I'm going to give an explanation that completely makes sense.
Okay, here we go.
But this is why when you post what you posted, it's like the feds releasing the Epstein files. I know that sounds crazy.
No, remotely similar, but go ahead.
Here's the explanation. To drown out some of the actual, maybe really credible and things that we could actually be like, oh, that was really going on. Like, for example, in the Epstein files, there's an individual named Les Wexner, former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch and also of Victoria's Secret. He was literally funding this guy, knowing all of this happened. Leon Black. There's real things in there, but with the release of it, they would put some crazy shit in there to say George Bush was eating the intestines of children after they sacrificed them and eating the fecal matter out of them. You know why? That people could say, this is all bullshit. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes the most, like, again, I agree with you on that point you made about, you know, what was the point? The last point. I don't think everything is credible. But what I'm saying is that when you blanketly act like because some of the things aren't credible means that nobody should believe anything, that becomes a problem, right? Because
what in my tweet? What? Like, name something in my tweet that's credible. Like, any of it. Like, name one credible thing in terms of what I said.
Okay, perfect. All right. So this is what I would offer. Okay, so you have a confession. Rock Nation been paying me to support Meg. I think when again, it's not credible as pertaining to you, but do I believe that Rock Nation, through his surrogates, has been financially incentivizing people to either support Megan? Absolutely, right? Now, again, it might not be credible to you, but when you say it as the person who, that's why I said it's the Epstein files pause. Like, when you say, people think that, well, if this isn't true, it's not true for everybody else, right? Because you're going to come out and say, of course they never paid me. Then people are thinking, well, they never paid anyone. Or they don't have any business incentives with people for them to support Meg on behalf of Rock Nation. Also, keep in mind, and this is why I said pattern recognition. If Rock Nation has zero, and this is why I said we could discuss all these at length. If Rock Nation has zero care about the media, right? The media supposedly, supporting Meg or painting her in a favorable light. Why did they essentially give their legal team to Meg Thee Stallion, fund millions of dollars to go after a blogger just to get $59,000? Right?
Did Rock Nation actually fund that, or did Megan just fund that herself to prove a point? And I think, and when you talk about these media connections and so forth,
Vlad,
like I've really been kind of fair on both times. Because the girl that Megan sued, I had a conversation with her and I told her that it's just financial bullying. Because at the end of the day, some random blogger that doesn't have a massive following like this girl putting out a couple things about Tory does not change anything.
Vlad.
Doesn't change anything.
And this is where
and funding someone like me doesn't change anything.
And
there's too many media outlets out there. It's not like it was in the 1980s, where if you got CNN to get behind you, suddenly you change the whole narrative.
DJ Vlad's name is synonymous with hard-hitting hip-hop interviews, but on February 14th, 2026, he had social media buzzing for a different reason. Late that Saturday night, the 52-year-old media figure fired off a series of posts on X, formerly Twitter, that read like a blockbuster confession. Fans across the hip-hop sphere woke up to screenshots and think pieces of Vlad apparently exposing a high-level conspiracy. He claimed that Rock Nation, the entertainment company founded by Jay-Z, paid him to publicly back Megan Thee Stallion in her legal battle against Tory Lanez. Within hours, his thread was trending, and hip-hop blogs, YouTubers, and barbershop debates lit up. At first glance, Vlad's post seemed explosive. "I have a confession. Rock Nation has been paying me to support Megan," he wrote. He then accused Jay-Z's team of bribing jurors and paying off the judge in Lanez's assault trial. He even alleged that Jay-Z recorded a verse for the judge's grandson's album, and that Megan's doctor lied about bullet fragments because he was on the company's payroll. The thread didn't stop there. Vlad claimed the Rock Mafia paid Los Angeles police officers and the Supreme Court judges who later denied Lanez's appeal. He threw in that a hitman who stabbed Lanez behind bars was also allegedly on Jay-Z's payroll. At one point, he even wrote that Jay-Z paid Donald Trump not to pardon Tory and joked that the former president might have bent the rules on a state case. Vlad's tone suggested he was setting up an outlandish thriller. The story grew wilder as he described how he was compensated. Vlad said the payment started at $10,000 per month and jumped to $50,000 during the trial, all allegedly paid in Bitcoin so they couldn't be traced. He added that every blogger in hip-hop was on Jay-Z's payroll and that his silence only lasted because he was being paid. According to Vlad, he decided to expose everything because his last payment had bounced. He capped off the thread with, "I can't keep these lies secret anymore. If this is my last tweet, you know who silenced me," reinforcing the idea that he was risking his own safety. With conspiracy-minded fans already questioning Lanez's conviction, the tweets landed like gasoline on a smoldering fire. Many fans took the posts at face value, spreading them through Instagram carousels and reaction videos. Headlines popped up across hip-hop sites with tags like "Shock Confession" or "DJ Vlad blows the whistle," and even mainstream outlets such as Complex and Baller Alert quickly aggregated the thread, quoting his unverified allegations word for word. The timing was perfect. Tory Lanez's appeal had recently been denied, and the rapper was serving a 10-year sentence, while internet theories about the case were still circulating. However, a closer reading of Vlad's posts reveals a different story. In one reply, he wrote that the payments were made in Bitcoin, so they couldn't be traced, implying a level of cartoonish secrecy. He joked that Jay-Z personally recorded a verse for the judge's grandson's album, and even responded to a comment by implying that Jay-Z and the late Jeffrey Epstein were the same person. These absurd details should have been obvious signals that he was being sarcastic. Vlad has long ridiculed conspiracies surrounding the case, calling many of them ridiculous. Nevertheless, many readers missed the humor, and the posts took on a life of their own. The backlash came quickly. Conspiracy-friendly influencers celebrated Vlad as an unlikely hero, while others attacked him for chasing clout by exploiting a serious case. YouTuber Sneeko, who has defended Tory Lanez's innocence, even called Vlad on a live stream to get clarification. In the call, Vlad laughed and admitted he was trolling. "People just do not know sarcasm, do they?" he said. "Sarcasm really just goes over people's heads. Of course I'm trolling, man. Jay did a verse on the judge's grandson's album. Like, how is this not obvious?" He reminded viewers that Lanez was convicted by 12 jurors and that his appeal had already been denied. Vlad's goal, it seems, was to lampoon the unfounded theories that had circulated since the 2020 shooting. To understand why his satire hit such a nerve, it's worth revisiting the context. On July 12, 2020, Tory Lanez was accused of shooting Megan Thee Stallion in the foot after an argument. The case became a major topic in hip-hop. Lanez's supporters argued he was framed, while others called for accountability. During the trial, Megan's former friend Kelsey Harris was granted use immunity to testify, yet her statements were inconsistent. Some fans believe the conflicting testimony showed that Lanez was innocent, fueling a wave of conspiracies about Roc Nation orchestrating a cover-up. Vlad, who hosts interviews on his media platform, has consistently said he believes the jury reached the right conclusion, citing the cross-examination and evidence presented in court. His satirical thread was meant to highlight how absurd the conspiracy sounded when taken to their logical extremes. In the aftermath of his viral posts, Vlad's critics argued that he was irresponsible for joking about a case involving real people's lives and reputations. Supporters countered that satire has always been a way to expose flawed logic, and that those who were misled should reflect on why they were so ready to believe him. The episode underscores how quickly misinformation can spread online and how easily sarcasm can be misinterpreted when it lacks context. It also shows how sensitive the hip-hop community remains about the Megan Thee Stallion case and its wider implications for accountability and conspiracy theories. As of mid-February 2026, the dust is still settling. DJ Vlad's follow-up clarified that he never received money from Roc Nation and that he was mocking baseless theories. Tory Lanez remains in prison, and there is no evidence that Jay-Z or Roc Nation ever paid off jurors, judges, or bloggers. The only thing Vlad's thread proves is how quickly a satirical tweet can set the hip-hop world on fire. For some, it was a hilarious commentary on conspiratorial thinking. For others, it was an irresponsible stunt. Either way, it offered a teachable moment. Always look for context, check your sources, and understand that sarcasm doesn't always land on social media.